China is making it hard for AI to replace these jobs. And now it's a situation where it's like, it is no longer okay for you to say, hey, you lost your job due to AI. It's like, no, you have to retrain these people, reassign them to positions, and also compensate them for the very thing that you are replacing them with. So I think that America needs to hop on board with this because the Washington Post just laid off 50,000 people. Amazon just laid off hundreds of thousands of people as well. So I think that if we had clauses like this in play over here in America, we wouldn't be mad at Jeff Bezos for sponsoring the Met Gala and laying off all these people.
Exactly.
Right.
All right. What's up? Let's talk about AI and people, right? Here's the thing. Like the young lady was talking about how China retrains people. In America, not so much, right? And what I find funny about this whole AI thing is, remember they had the coders, techies, whatever you want to call it, right? To make codes for AI, and then they fired them, right? And then and then it was like, we need you back. Now, me personally, I was like, listen, if I was one of those guys, I would have put a back door into the program just to mess it up. I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna give you A1 work and to get fired. Not happening. But here's the thing: with these other industries that you're trying to replace people, there are a lot of AI generated things that work, and there are a lot of AI generated things that don't work, or automated systems that don't work. And what you're seeing right now is the lack of personal touch. So, what you're saying at companies, we're going to invest in artificial intelligence to do the work. We're going to get rid of the workers, or downsize the amount of employees we have. Let the AI do the work. And then what we're going to do then is, we're going to sell this product to the rest of the world. And it's like, wait a minute. I hate to break the news to you, but you got multiple companies with this idea. So you're not going to have people to afford your products or even want to buy your products, even if they could afford them, because of the layoffs. There's no human connection. And then, talk about like the automated call systems, and it's like, oh my God, I'm sick of this. We work with it, but a lot of times we'd rather talk to a person. So, and even the automated pay systems. One of the issues with some of the pay systems is some people give you a discount for being automated, and some people charge you more for automated than you would if you just did the service by yourself. So you have that issue, right? Which goes back to customer service. And because customer service is lacking in a lot of businesses, you're gonna lack in profits at a certain point, is what I was trying to say. And here's the other thing: some people don't want to deal with people because some of these employers don't want you to actually service the customers. You get what I'm saying? So you wind up in these situations where you're calling these companies and they're really not. You're paying them for a service, but when it's time to need that service, all of a sudden nobody knows how to do anything in your best interest. So if you automate that, people already know if I'm getting screwed by the people, I'm getting screwed by the systems. So how about I just check out of this whole equation? So you have that aspect of it. Then, yeah, no nice way to say what I'm about to say. Then you have these idiots out here who actually believe like it's more efficient It's more efficient to automate all of this stuff. And it's like, how? How is it more efficient? Because you're gonna, let's just say you're gonna get one robot to replace 4 people, one robot to replace 10 people, one robot to replace 20 people, and just because and what we're gonna do is I can work the robot. The robot can do overtime and double time because the robot ain't getting paid. But y'all assume that this efficiency is gonna work when it's not, because most of the best businesses in America, to actually get the task completed, they use people. You know, that's just a thing. People, no matter even no matter how dysfunctional people are, I shouldn't say no matter, but even when you have people who are dysfunctional and don't do their jobs properly, usually they're still more efficient than, how can I say this? They're going to wind up being more efficient than a robot because you're going to get rid of them and keep somebody that's efficient. But you're going to say, I'm going to get rid of the people and get the robot that's efficient. But the robots don't move at the same speed. That's the thing. And even like, how can I say this? Even when you got people using drones, that's one person at a time. That's one person at a time. So you take a drone, you fly from here to there. That's that's kind of using technology, AI, automated systems. But somebody's usually flying it, and sometimes if they have it where they're not flying, it doesn't matter. Same thing when you have the driverless cars. It could get you where you're going, absolutely, but it's still dealing with a moving world. So everything is not A1 with that. I mean, it's a it's a process. So when people get stuck in those situations, they're screwed. And that wouldn't necessarily, and the type of situations that happen with driverless cars don't happen with drivers. That's the thing. You know, when you have sometimes people automated fixing fast food, okay, and you see, um, the more they went to automated systems with fast food, the less customers they got. Because I want somebody, a human being, to make my food. Because if unfortunately, you got some people who are mean spirited making food, but in a general sense, they care for the food better than a machine would. And guess what? They're gonna handle a rush better. But then that goes to the other thing, like even with the finances, right? Finance field. Some of those people got fired because of AI and automation. And it's like, well, because let the computers pick the trends and ride the trends. And it could work if you're playing safe, but there's a lot of things that the computers, the AI can't see of human interaction and the human element of life and investing. So that's a whole nother, um, excuse me, there's a whole nother spectrum of thinking. And, but the flip side of that is you had people, who were stealing money, and that made people, I would rather go with a computer than go with you, which creates a problem. So I would say America's issue is trust, not efficiency. So when you lose trust in something, um, you have these companies investing in AI because they're not trustworthy, or they don't trust their own people. One or the other. But you probably won't be as efficient, and people won't necessarily physically take you seriously because you know there's no there's no oversight for mistakes because you can't talk to a person directly when it doesn't work because it was already AI and automated. See, there's no consequences. Nobody's gonna get written up. Nobody's gonna have issues. It's nothing. So if something bad happened in a situation, oh well, no one to blame per se. Um, but I'm gonna leave it at that because I got to do a couple of errands. So just tell me what you think. Catch you on the next one. Peace.